Welcome to Beyond the Classroom, podcast about LCCC's OWD, Outreach and Workforce Development. Today we're here with Dave Curry, Program Manager for Advanced Manufacturing and Materials Center, the AMMC. And Dave's going to talk to us about what the AMMC, it is a mouthful. And he's going to talk to us about what the program is, what it offers, how to get involved with it, etc., and how it can help students and businesses here in Southeast Wyoming. So to kick it off, Dave, what is advanced manufacturing?
You know, manufacturing, a lot of people think of it, of old black smoke rolling up out of smokestacks and real dirty and dingy and cramped environment that people are working in. Well, about 100 some odd years ago, you'd be correct. But what advanced manufacturing is, we've actually moved out of that first stage and actually probably about the second, third stage of the Industrial Revolution. Now we're in the fourth go-around of the Industrial Revolution. Advanced manufacturing is a lot cleaner. So if you were to walk in the shop, you don't see a bunch of cramped, dark, dirty places. You see a wide open space. So the differences between, I guess, if we wanted to break this down, between manufacturing and machining, we'll talk about machining. We go from using old manual machines to new CNC machines. So the manual machines, people really have to do everything themselves. They are the computer. They load the piece. They operate the machine. They make the point of operation to create that piece. Okay. And in advanced manufacturing, that's where we're going to introduce our computer numerical controls. Now, the same student can take that same piece, walk across the other side of the lab, load that same piece of equipment up, but now they're going to program the machine to make the part for them. The machine will actually swap out the tooling as it needs to. It'll create everything that it needs to create so you have that completed product. Now, we have some folks that operate those manual machines for years and years and years. So if there's one piece that they need made, it's probably quicker for them to actually go make it on the manual machine. But if there's 100 of those same pieces, it's a lot quicker to go over and load the CNC machine up and just run your 100 pieces.
Henry Ford would be just aghast, right?
Yeah.
You're doing two things at once? How can that work?
And to watch the machines run, we could load 6 different tools in there. Once we load that program up, then the machine will take care of everything else. We go through and measure things at the end, make sure that they're in the specs that they need to be in. But yeah, there we go.
Okay, so none of Charles Dickens' little kids running around the workshop, no black smoke shops anymore. Fourth generation manufacturing. So what kind of jobs can people get with this? What kind of jobs exist anywhere in our region?
So the region is growing, is what our region is growing. A lot of folks, they think about southeastern Wyoming, they think about Cheyenne, they think of Laramie County, but we're starting to expand a little bit more in the state and also down the Front Range. So we're doing business with folks out of Colorado, northern part of Colorado. Yeah. And it could range anywhere from firearms to aerospace to medical. So we have all these different layers and different organizations and groups that people go to work for, different industries. And there are different levels once you get inside of a company. So your entry level is probably going to be an equipment operator. Okay. So a machine operator, you're going to take whatever your blank is, aluminum, steel, titanium, whatever it is you're going to work with. You're going to place that inside the machine and make sure it's properly situated. And you're going to close the doors and probably hit cycle start. And then the machine will take off and make that piece. Once that piece is complete, you'll come out, you'll do some measuring, make sure that it's all within spec. Then you'll probably just keep going with that. So the next step up is a setup operator. The setup operator is the one that's going to take that drawing from the engineer, load the machine to make that piece. And then the top of the line is your engineer. They're going to go through, you've got an order for 100 left-handed widgets that, needs to be developed such so. And that is their job. It's their job to go through and make sure that it's going to be made properly. And it just kind of flows across the floor.
And so what is the AMMC's role in preparing students to take this entry-level role? Because I'm assuming that's what they can expect to walk into.
We can actually get them pretty close to both the first and the second level. Wow. So we offer trainings in a couple of different time frames, I guess we could say. We offer a 9-week non-credit boot camp, and right now we're pretty much doing those during the summer semesters. We're in week 7 of our 2025 boot camp right now. And that, the way I tell folks, it's like a rock skipping across water, but the rock never gets wet, because we're giving them so much information in such a short period of time that, yeah, I got some knowledge of machining now. I can go out and I can do some things. And those folks are leaving here and getting jobs as machine operators. Now, our credit program, we spend in the fall semesters, we spend a full 16 weeks just in manual machining. What steps do I need to do? What things do I need to do to set this machine up to make that part? And they get to go through the whole, we don't use math. Math is a scary word. We call computations, trade skill computations for machinists, but it's applied math. So you can see the math that you're going to use in your field and how it affects you. So once students and technicians can see for themselves where this fits into my day-to-day activities, it's easier for them to learn. We go through some safety. We go through an entire, it's a 2 credit hour class in the fall semester, intro to manufacturing. What am I getting myself into? So we'll go through and talk to them about careers. We'll talk to them, hey, when it comes time, what kind of things need to be in a resume? What kind of things are you doing here that can go in and work forward and work with you? And then the most of their day, the biggest bulk of their day is going to be out in the lab, running that machine, getting to know that machine. So that is the first 16 weeks. The second 16 weeks, which we're currently doing in our spring semester, is all CNC operations. So they're going to take what they learned in that first semester, go across the lab, and now they're going to learn how to set up that machine, how to make that part, how to do those things. So again, just depending on where they want to go, they could actually leave here and probably be ready to go into a lot of places as that setup operator.
So those first 16 weeks, they're playing with lathes and milling machines and assuming a couple other pieces of equipment.
Precision measurement, we start introducing, even though that's really kind of drawn or spelled out in the spring semester, because you have to understand how to read a micrometer. You know, for most folks, reading in inches and half inches and quarter inches and sixteenths and so on and so forth, that's what we're used to. In the machining world, thousandths of an inch.
Thank God I'm a woodworker and don't have to deal with that kind of precision.
Yeah.
But happy to know I don't have to do math, which means I can still come into your program, right? There's some math, right? You've mentioned it.
Yeah.
How deep are they getting into the math?
The biggest thing they do is conversions. You know, decimals to fractions, fractions to decimals, those types of things. Sometimes things might be written in imperial and they've got to be changed over to metric. Okay, how do I do that? Especially when you're looking at some of the equipment, some of the tooling that comes in. All right, I need to make a hole this size. I need to use a drill bit this size. And cheat a little bit in the shop. We have conversion charts all over the walls in both shops, so they can go through. If they get hung up somewhere, they can go through and use the chart.
That's perfectly okay, right? Einstein didn't know his own phone number. He got up one day. I love that story. Somebody said, Einstein, what's your phone number? He got up out of his chair, walked across, opened up the phone book. They said, you don't know your own phone number? He said, why would I remember anything that I can look up?
Yeah.
Same thing with your conversion tables.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's awesome. All right, so back to the second semester, they're dealing with CNC. They're learning how to read them. At some point, I believe you are also teaching CAD.
We are. So CAD, which is computer-aided design, comes up in the second semester. Computer-aided machining as well, CAM, comes up in the second semester, because it's one thing to be able to sit down and draw this piece. I always use my left-handed widget. So I've gone in to the computer-aided design software and I've created this thing. I can't take this thing on a thumb drive and plug it into one of the machines. The machine it'll get lost. It doesn't know what it's looking at. But what I can do is go over to actually the same computer and bring up another program. And now I'm going to CAM it. I'm going to take that CAD drawing and I'm going to put it into a language. I think that's probably the easiest way to put it, the best way to put it. Put it into a language that the CNC machines can look at. Okay. So we'll go through and you're actually going to assign tool paths. I need you to make this piece. This is what you're going to do. This is how the machine's going to run. And then if you look at a piece after it's gone through the camming process, it just looks like lines. There's just lines everywhere. So now what we've done is we've taken that drawing that the computer or that the machine can't read, and we've turned it into a CAM program in which the machine can read, and we just see lines. Now, you can still look at it and say, okay, yeah, there's my widget, but it's something that the machine knows what to do with.
You gotta figure out how to read the matrix.
There you go.
So we've gotten into the second semester. So we've got the 9-week boot camp, but for the credit program where they're getting an actual degree out of this, and again, certifications on top of that, how long is the total program?
So that's what I like so much about the credit. Actually, I like all the programs, but the credit program, like I said, that machine tool technology is the fall semester, 16 weeks long. The students have a choice point at that time. Do I want to take the knowledge in which I picked up in these last 16 weeks and go to the field and start working? Or do I want to come back in the spring semester to pick up on the CNC knowledge? The last school year was actually our very first school year of having the credit program. And I only have room for 14 students. We had 13 students, and all 13 came back for the spring semester. So they were getting that information. Once they wrap up that second 16 weeks, now they got another choice point. Do I want to take my combined knowledge that I have now and go to find an employer? Or do I want to come back and get my associate's degree? So the way that whole, and we're part of the trades and tech pathway degree. So that means that everything within trades and tech, is it electrical, diesel, welding, auto, wind energy, industrial maintenance, all of our credits go towards an associate's degree. They include all those other programs. What I like about the credit diploma route, there are no gen eds. Outside of our computations class, there's no math, no English, no public speaking, no history. There's nothing in there except for what you need for your career. But when you come back for that associate's degree, then you know, yep, I've got to take my math, my public speaking, my history, my English. So I think what we're doing is we're giving students the training for where they are in their lives. Do I want to go to work and get out and start making a living for my family and all these other great things? Okay, then I'm going to do the credit diploma. I'm going to get out and go. Hey, you know what? I do want to take that next step forward and come back in and get your associate's degree. And what I kind of look at is we're giving students bite-sized chunks of success. Because for some folks, coming to a college, that's always been outside of their realm. Oh, I'm never going to step foot on a college. Oh, wait, that machining thing's kind of cool. I'll go do that. And there's like, hey, wait, I can't do this. And then they come back for that spring semester. Then they come back for the next. But it's really up to them on what they want to do.
It's fantastic. All right, so you hit on a few of the different industries that can use machinists that are coming out of your labs. Hit on firearms manufacturers. We've hit on the rocket industry, medical. What else everybody thinks of Wyoming as a little rural state with some cattle, some oil, and some minerals. What else?
Oh, goodness. We have a gentleman working downstairs for me right now that actually made pieces that are going on a new space plane. It's going to be launched in orbit. It's actually on the pad down at the Cape right now.
Wow.
So we play a role in every state, in every industry we can play a role in. And, you know, like I said, I mentioned a few, but we've probably all touched something today that has been machined somewhere along the way.
Yep. These microphone stands right here, I guarantee, through some sort of machining process.
Absolutely. So we do a lot of things, or we interact with a lot of things every day we never even think about. We don't think about where they come from or how they got there or who did it. It just magically happens.
It's pretty cool that you've got somebody who's touched NASA and their part's going to touch space, or at least the fringes of space. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Any other success stories? You had a class go through last year. Several students graduated.
We did. So one thing about this career field, and especially right here where we are in Wyoming, if you want a job, you have a job. It's in the training for you. Some of our students actually in our nine, I just learned this morning that 2 of our 9 students that we have right now are already
Wow.
working for a company here in town. And that employer is like, I'll hire you, but you've got to still go to your training. You've got to complete your training program. So the way our training program, I'm talking about the boot camp right now, the non-credit boot camp, it's again, 9 weeks. We only train from 7 to noon, Monday through Thursday. So it gives people the entire afternoon to still go to work. It gives them Friday to get out of here and do things. We know people still have a life that they need to go deal with. So we've tried to make that as user-friendly as it could. So we've also had a couple of students begin their own businesses out of, they go through the training, they get in here. It's like, wait a minute, I've always had this problem in the world that I can now solve. And one of them was making a safety switch for weapons.
Wow.
So this gentleman had sat down and drew this thing up, and now he has gone in and starting to create things that are being sold across the country.
That is fulfilling not only on his side, but yours too.
Absolutely.
So 9 weeks, talked about the boot camp several times. What's the cost of the boot camp? Because I'm sure it's not the same as just buying credit hours at the college.
It is not. The boot camp had a cost, or like I said, the next one will be till summer 26. This one is $5,000. But that is 9 weeks worth of training. It's 180 hours total of training that you're going through. And that covers your books, that covers the metal, that covers the tooling, that covers everything. We just are asking you to donate your time that you've paid for and come in and let us give you all the information we can.
$5,000, chance to start my own business potentially. If I wanted to go to work for somebody else at an entry-level position, what are we talking about wage-wise?
The entry level, you're looking at about 20, 22.
Okay, so $44,000, $45,000 a year to start on a $5,000 investment.
Right.
That's a good payoff.
It is a very good payoff. So, and another great thing about the state of Wyoming, we do have opportunities if we were to go out and maybe try to find some grants. Is there business training funds? Are there other monies that can be used? Then the individual cost to the student drops significantly, if not all the way.
Is there anything else you'd like folks to know about the boot camps or the AMMC in general?
The jobs are there. The training is available. One of the things that I always seem to have one more thing or other things that I tell folks. There are 3 reasons why AMMC is here. It's here for our students, it's here for our industry, and it's here for our community. So if you fit into one of those 3 categories, come by, let us see what we can do for you.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Beyond the Classroom. We'll have Dave back probably to talk more about the Concept Forge next time. And until then, keep learning, and we'll see you again. You can find us on pretty much all major podcast sites at this point. I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow today.